Your favorite oldies all weekend long. Oldies 99.9.
Welcome back to The Day the Music Died. This is your host, Rod Wolf. It's time now to focus our spotlight on our third and final star, a true legend of early rock and roll.
A long, long time ago, I can still remember how that music used to make me smile. And I knew if I had my chance that I could make those people dance, and maybe they'd be happy for a while. But February made me shiver with every paper I deliver. Bad news on the doorstep, I couldn't take one more step. I can't remember if I cried when I read about his widowed bride, but something touched me deep inside the day the music died. So bye-bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And then good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing, "This'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die."
In 1972, Don McLean dedicated an album entitled American Pie to Buddy Holly. In the title song, Don mentioned how the music made him smile. And that's the reason why so much interest is still paid to the rock and roll of the 1950s. Early rock was fun and carefree. The songs addressed teenage feelings and relationships like no other form of music before it. And right there, to help lead the way, was Buddy Holly. Buddy's music captivated the first generation of rock and rollers, and he remains one of a few of the early rock stars whose music has bridged 4 decades. It was not only the words and music, it was the way Buddy sang a song, almost hiccuping the lyric as teens everywhere tried to imitate his vocal technique. Buddy Holly's incredible songwriting talent is still admired today, and rock historians have written many times that Buddy Holly's sound of the 50s became the English sound of the 1960s. And a little bit later on, I'll present evidence to support that theory. But before we begin the Buddy Holly story in music, we begin the Buddy Holly story in words. And we'll begin where it all began. On September 7th of 1936, when a child was born in Lubbock, Texas, to Mr. and Mrs. Lawrence Holly. They named their 4th child Charles Hardin and nicknamed him Buddy. The family's exposure to music of the faith influenced Buddy as much as it influenced other young stars that emerged during the 1950s. The Holly family had other musical talents too. Brother Larry could play the fiddle, and Travis played an accordion. In 1941, at the age of 5, Buddy helped to win a local music contest by playing a small violin. Brother Larry remembers.
They had an amateur contest, and Mother and Dad always wanted us to take Buddy because he was so cute, you know. And he had a little violin. We took him out, and he did sing a song, and I think that might have been what caused us to win the contest.
By the time Buddy was 8 years old, he was playing the piano, and by the time he was 9, he was in love with the instrument that would capture his soul, the guitar. During these formative years, Buddy listened to different types of music on the radio, but mostly he was a fan of country and western.
There stands the glass that will ease all my pain, that will settle my brain. It's my first one to take.
Well, why don't you love me like you used to do? How come you treat me like a worn-out shoe? My hair's still curly and my eyes are still blue. Why don't you love me like you used to do?
He's in the jailhouse now.
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 I told him once or twice to quit playing cards and shooting dice. He's in the jailhouse.
By 1949, and now in the 7th grade, Buddy had also discovered the blues. And Buddy met a classmate who also loved country and western and blues music too. The classmate's name was Bob Montgomery. Buddy and Bob started playing local shows together. Between 1950 and 1952, Buddy and Bob became one of Lubbock's favorite acts. Bob was doing most of the lead singing at the time, but when Buddy sang lead, it was usually on an up-tempo song. Back then they called it bop music. By 1954, the duo had their own weekly radio show on KDAV. Other local musicians like Larry Welborn and Sonny Curtis were helping out, and the group was recording demo records every chance they could. Schoolmate Jerry Allison also drifted in and out of Buddy's earliest groups. J.I., as Jerry was known, played the drums, and he talked about those early days.
Before we got into rhythm and blues and that, we started listening to like Hank Thompson, Hank Williams, and Bob Wills. But we started off listening to country music because that's mostly what was happening around there. Don Guest was playing steel guitar, Sonny Curtis was playing fiddle, and we cut some records with that combination.
I should have reconsidered all those things I said I'd do. So now I'm changing all those changes that I made when I left you. Sweetheart, I'm changing all those changes that I made when I left you. Because I made those changes when I thought you were untrue. But now you're gone, I've found I'm wrong, and there's nothing I can do except to change up all those changes that I made when I left you. Out of care, and now I know I'm wrong, and I can't find you anywhere. I should have reconsidered all those things I said I'd do. So now I'm changing all those changes that I made when I left you.
Still another classmate, Joe B. Mauldin, played a stand-up bass and started hanging around Buddy and his group as they began to play more and more rhythm and blues-influenced music. Joe B. talked about how country boys from the tiny Texas town of Lubbock would search the radio dial looking for that new sound.
There wasn't a whole lot of that kind of music played in and around Lubbock, but there was a station over in Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana, that came on at night from, I think it was from 10:30 to 11:30, and we would usually get together in one of our cars or at someone's house and tune in Shreveport and listen to that show every night. And that's where we got to hear a lot of the rhythm and blues and the kind of music that we really enjoyed playing and listening to.
Shake, baby, shake, 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 till the meat roll off your bone. Ooh, shake, baby, shake, 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 till your mama and daddy comes home. Shake, 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 I just love your sexy ways. You ain't nothing but a hound, been snooping around the door. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, been snooping around the door. You can wag your tail, but I ain't gonna feed you no more.
I'm telling you now, they call me love and dad. I'll rock 'em, roll 'em all night long. I'm a 60-minute man.
Buddy and his group remained local, but finally their talent was noticed by someone who could help them get out of Lubbock. In October of 1955, Bill Haley and the Comets came to town. The show also featured Lubbock's own Buddy and Bob and Larry Welborn, who was by now a regular member of the act. The show had been booked by Eddie Crandall, and Eddie was impressed with the group's performance that night. Other young stars like Ferlin Husky and Porter Wagoner had played Lubbock in recent weeks, but one young singer had come to town and set it ablaze with excitement. Sonny Curtis remembers.
Elvis came through the country, man, and he just started, and he was brand new. And we all just fell in love with that style of music because, mainly because the girls all liked it, you know.
Well, I heard you knew that's good to rockin' tonight. Well, I heard the news that's good to rockin' tonight. I'm gonna hold my baby as tight as I can. Tonight she'll know I'm a mighty, mighty man. I heard the news that's good to rockin' tonight. Train I ride 16 coaches long. Train I ride 16 coaches long. Well, that long black train got my baby and gone.
You're listening to The Day the Music Died. This is your host, Rod Wolf. The Buddy Holly story and words of music will continue after a brief intermission.
A long, long time ago, I can still remember how that music used to make me smile.
The Valley's greatest hits of all time.
Hello, everybody. This is Rod Wolf, host of the original Sunday Night Hall of Fame. This week, I'll be taking you back to the days of penny loafers and bobby socks with an all-1950s edition of the Hall of Fame show.
Come on over, baby, whole lot of shaking going on. We ain't faking, whole lot of shaking going on.
It's more of the music that made rock and roll history on an all-1950s Hall of Fame. The music and the memories begin at 6 on AM 790 WAEB.
WAEB Music Tri-City Radio.